Once the alternative login using a social network has been fully configured by creating a developer project for each of the providers, taking that information and adding it to the named providers in the Alpha Anywhere web projects, activating the web security to use alternative login, and then configuring the UX components, we can examine how this will work in a real application. We have opened up this UX component using a login alternative. As you can see, we have a username and password which could be used if the user has a password already assigned to them within the Alpha Web Security system. They could enter their username, their password, and then log in. Alternatively, they can log in using any of the providers that have been configured for them. In this particular case, we click on the Google Plus button. If the user has allowed the use of pop-ups in their particular browser, this page will open up in a pop-up window. If they have not allowed pop-up windows, it will do a full page reload and show the full page as provided by the provider selected, in this case Google. If we log in by a user, we may get additional information or we may log in directly. Each provider will be a slightly different form. In this case, we have now logged in as this particular user using just the Google credentials. If we go to the user page, we can see this is the page that was designed with a list showing all the logins for this particular user. On this particular page, we could add additional logins if we wanted to that have not been assigned. For instance, we could add a Facebook login, a Twitter login, or a LinkedIn. If we add a Twitter login, for example, we can go in and notice it'll redirect us back. And the reason it redirected us back immediately was this particular user had already logged into Twitter from this particular browser. Therefore, they already had a valid Twitter login. So Twitter used that particular login and added that login now to this user. This user here now can use a Google login of this particular email, or they can use their Twitter login under that particular Twitter account. Either one will log them into the exact same web security record in Alpha Web Security. We can also delete one from here if we so desired. In fact, before we delete one, we'll just go in and we'll log in under this particular Twitter and see if they log in with the same username. So we go back to the username. Now we can log in as Twitter. And notice it redirects us back because the user has already been logged in with Twitter. As you can see, we're logged in by this user. We'll also go in through Google and log in for the same user. And as you can see, both the Twitter and the Google authentication is linked to this particular user. If we go to LinkedIn, for example, LinkedIn is a little unusual. This user has already logged in to LinkedIn from this particular browser. LinkedIn will just simply show a blank page and then redirect back. If we were to select Facebook, it will ask us to re-log into Facebook. Each of these processes may change as the provider changes their various methods they use. If we've logged in here under LinkedIn, we can see we have a user under LinkedIn. If we try to delete this user by selecting it, we will get an error because this is the user's only login. Therefore, we cannot delete the authentication because they'd have no way to log into the Alpha security system if we deleted their external login. So using these methods, we can configure the ability for a user to log in using credentials from the various providers we are now supporting, such as Google, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and they don't need to have a password in the Alpha Web Security system.